Welcome to this MDC video for the new drop trap. The drop trap is an extremely versatile, humane manual trap designed to allow the trapper to select which specific cat they're going to trap, but also allows you to catch multiple cats, including mothers and kittens. Unlike other MDC traps, the drop trap is literally a manual trap that drops down over the cat as it passes underneath it. It's a collapsible trap made from black wire mesh. The reason it's collapsible is, when assembled, it's a much larger trap than other MDC traps. Being collapsible simply makes it easier to transport and carry. So first, let's look at how we assemble it. Remember, when assembling the trap, there is a gap here in the top that aligns with the transfer door. You have one here and one on the other side. So make sure that you align these when you're putting the top onto the trap. Now let's have a look at the parts of the trap. There's the prop arm. Here's the transfer door, and there's one on the other side. This is the spring hook that locks the top into place when you assemble it. There's two on the front, two on the back, and one on each side. And on the back, you have the stability plate where you put something heavy.
And then lastly, the removable handles.
As with all MDC traps, it's very important that you practice using the trap before you start going out to trap cats, and that you're completely familiar and comfortable with how it works. You should also check the trap over every time you're about to use it to ensure that it's properly maintained and that there's no damage and that it's in good working order. The great advantage of a drop trap is that there's no confined space that the cat has to enter. The trap area is open on three sides, and as a result, many cats that would avoid or be hesitant with other traps are far more likely to enter a drop trap. This makes it a particularly useful tool that you can use either as your main trap, capturing multiple cats at the same time, or using it to catch the more hesitant, nervous cats that might avoid other traps. When it comes to trapping, because this is a larger trap with no floor, it's very important to choose the right position and surface to set it. You need an area large enough to accommodate not just the trap, but for you to transfer the cats out of the trap once you've caught them. Unlike other traps, you can't just pick this one up and move it to another location once you've caught the cat. The transfer needs to take place at the place of trapping. And because it has no floor, you need to check where you're going to place the trap to make sure that the trap is fully in contact with the ground once the trap is dropped. So that any cats aren't able to find an escape route through any gaps. Now let's look at how to set the trap. The first thing you'll need to do is attach the pull cord to the prop arm. It needs to be long enough and strong enough that you can activate the trap from a good distance without it stretching, breaking, or tangling. Next, find a suitable location. Check the trap base edges to make sure that there's no gaps, and then find a heavy item to place on the stability plate. This is so that when you catch the cat, the trap is less likely to move if the cat runs around. You can use something that you bring with you, like a full water container, or simply look for some rocks or heavy items near the trap site. Next, lift up the trap so it's balanced on the prop arm, like this. If you want to acclimatize the cats to the trap in advance of trapping, you can prop the trap up using something stable so that it won't inadvertently fall. But because of the open design of the drop trap, acclimatization is less of an issue than with other more confined traps. So once you've got the trap prepared, you can bait it. Now it's best to use wet cat food or even things like sardines or tuna to bait the trap, as they're the most delicious things to entice a cat into the trap. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using some dry cat food. Place a large pile of food at the rear center of the trap. That way, cats eating it will be far enough into the trap, irrespective of which direction they've entered it from. It needs to be a large pile of food, because we're likely to get more than one cat coming to investigate and eat. Once the food is placed, remove any items or food that you brought with you. Make sure the area around the trap is clear, and then take the cord and carefully unroll it so that you're far enough away from the trap that either the cat can't see you or isn't bothered by you. Make sure that the angle of the cord in relation to the drop trap allows for a single pull to trigger the trap. The difference between a manual trap and an automatic trap is that you are in total control of when you catch the cat. Because of that, there's a lot of things you need to think about. Don't necessarily trigger the trap on the first cat that enters. If the first cat is that brave, it's likely to come back again later, but other, more suspicious cats will have seen it enter, eat, and leave without any consequences, and this will encourage them to be less afraid and more likely to enter the trap afterwards. As the cats get used to entering and eating, make a note of which cats are present before starting. This way you can select which ones you want to capture. Maybe there are ones that have already been sterilized and you don't want to trap them again, or maybe you want to prioritize females or an injured cat. Now, back to triggering the trap. Remember, the prop arm needs to be pulled outwards away from the trap. You also need to be sure that there aren't things like branches or rocks on the ground that the cord could snag or catch on. Before pulling the cord, look out for any other cats that might be close to the trap. If another cat is watching or approaching the trap, don't pull the cord yet. The cat that's approaching might join the cat that's already inside the trap, and that way you can capture both. Now with the drop trap, another extremely important thing to remember is to make sure that all the cats are fully inside and underneath the trap before you trigger it. When the trap drops, it's the full weight of the trap coming down. So you need to make sure that any cats and their legs and their tails are fully inside the trap footprint. Ideally, you want to wait until the cats are settled into eating with their backs towards you facing the rear of the trap before pulling the cord. Keep the cord slightly loose when the cats are approaching the trap and when they start eating. This way, if the cat steps on or touches the cord, there'll be less risk of triggering the trap by accident. When you're actually preparing to trigger the trap, wind the cord in slowly and gently to get out any excess slack. And when you're ready to pull the cord, do it in one quick movement. But be careful not to trigger the trap too soon by having the cord too tense. Always err on the side of caution. If you're not sure you should trigger the trap, don't. It's always better to leave it than rush the trapping and have the cat escape or frightened. Here's the cat being tempted by the bait. It's approaching the trap, making its way in. Make sure that the cat is all the way inside the trap and has settled down to eat before you pull the cord. Then, when you're ready, pull the cord in one quick move. Now you've caught the cat or cats, you need to cover the trap as quickly as possible to calm the cats down and reduce any stress that they're experiencing. As mentioned before, you need to transfer the cats out of the drop trap right where you've trapped them. Make sure you have enough carriers with you before you start the trapping process. And ideally, have 2 people to safely carry out the transfer process. Using the transfer doors, you need to carefully align the carrier with the door. Use bungee cords to connect the carrier to the trap. The cats have a lot more space inside of a drop trap, so when they enter the carrier, they might be moving fast and have some inertia. Make sure that one of you is behind the carrier to stop it from moving. Having the trap covered but the carrier uncovered is helpful, as it looks like a possible escape route for the cat. If the cat is reluctant to move from where it is inside the trap, one person can gently lift the cover where the cat is. That way, the cat is likely to move away from that area and hopefully towards the carrier. If once you have one or more cats in the carrier, but still have other cats inside the trap, make sure to close the transfer doors before moving the carrier away. Then just align the next carrier and repeat the process for the remaining cat or cats. Don't rush the process of moving cats from the trap to the carrier. It requires calmness and patience. Always remember that ensuring the cat's welfare is the most important thing throughout the entire trapping process. For more guidance and advice on how to transfer from a trap to a carrier, you can check out MDC's other video in this series. Once you've finished the trapping and the transferring, it's time to disassemble the drop trap. Remember to properly maintain your trap. Make sure that it's well cleaned and that there's no food residue or scent pheromones from a cat that you've trapped previously. For more information about this or any other MDC traps or equipment, visit the MDC website. And if you have any questions about the use of this trap, you can contact MDC via the email address at the bottom of this screen.